Hello, good evening. Welcome to another live episode of the League Two show. Got Charlie again joining me this week from OneRoverVlogs. But we'll jump straight into it again as per usual for the week. So we'll do our usual recap of the scores, and then we'll dive into some of the big results and look at the league tables so far. We'll also have a look at the deadline day moves from Tuesday night, and we'll have a look at those in a bit more detail and assess some of the transfer window overall. So this week we had a Friday night game. Rochdale took on Colchester. So if you watched the League One show the other night, I did mention Rochdale as part of League One, but I think I'm still coming to terms with the fact we've been relegated, so apologies for that. Rochdale 1-0 on Friday night with Colchester. Back to the Saturday games then. So we have Barrow 1, Bristol Rovers 1, Crawley 0, Northampton 0, Forest Green 0, Port Vale 2, one of the shock results of the day. Harrogate 1, Exeter 1, Hartlepool 2, Carlisle United 1, Leyton Orient 2, Bradford 0, Salford 3, Newport 0, Scunthorpe 1, Tranmere 0, Sutton 1, Oldham 2, Swindon 1, Mansfield 0, and finally Walsall 1, Stevenage 0. So we'll take a look at some of the bigger results from the day. We'll start with that shock defeat really for Forest Green at home to Port Vale. So that was Forest Green's not only their first drop points of the season, but also their first defeat against a Port Vale side that looked like they were struggling to get going. Did you see that one coming, Charlie? Because I think I had Forest Green on my accumulator the weekend. I thought it was a home banker, really.
Yeah, same here. I mean, there was quite a few, but yeah, that one being the main standout. The fact that Forest Green they didn't even score, which again I'm very surprised. But very good win for ex-Rovers manager Darryl Clark, and yeah, I don't think anyone was expecting, because they were quite early goals as well, and then it stayed the same scoreline. But yeah, very surprised at that.
Yeah, I think I stopped looking at my accumulator after only 10 minutes. I fancy him to come back from that, because I think Port Vale themselves, once they get in front and give them something to hold on to, they are a difficult side to beat. And that takes them up to 10th in the table and got 6 points after their opening 5 games. So not many points prior to this game, but it was a step in the right direction for them. We'll focus on Forest Green. So, like I said, first defeat of the season. So, you think that's just a bit of a minor blip for them, and you still see them continuing to be in the top 7 for the majority of the season? Or do you think that could be a sign of things to come in terms of a bit of a dip?
I mean, yeah, I would imagine they would get back to winning ways. I think it was just a minor blip. I wouldn't be expecting them to go on a run of losses, but you never know in League Two. It's crazy like that, or any league once you get a defeat. But I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. They've shown a lot of quality in opening few games, haven't they? And they've definitely signed to look like they're going to be a decent side this season at least, and they'll definitely win the reckoning of the top 3. Harrogate dropped their first points at the weekend as well, so they had the 100% start, and they've dropped their first points in a 1-1 draw at home to Exeter. Again, Harrogate are another side that not many people are tipping to be up there, and they've had a really positive start despite that draw at the weekend, haven't they?
Yeah, very good. Like you said, one of the surprise packages. But they're scoring goals, and to be fair, I was expecting them to win, especially when Exeter went down to 10 men and Harrogate had most of the chances. But yeah, very decent point for Exeter, but still Harrogate, they're probably over the moon with the start they've had.
Yeah, I think Harrogate are one of those teams that they rely on a good start, because I think a lot of people are predicting them to be down there come the end of the season, but you can't knock the start they've made. And obviously I saw on opening day of the season they did look very threatening going forward, but I think it'll be a case they can keep it tight at the back and continue with that strong attacking play. So when you look at their for and against column, they're currently winning their games average about 2-1, 2 goals to 1 every single game. So it's not a bad ratio to have at this point in time. In terms of the rest of the top 3, so Bradford at the weekend, so they're currently on 10 points from their opening 5 games. They've had a steady start to life under Derek Adams. They did get beat 2-0 away at Leyton Orient, though. Another result which I don't think many people. So I think I'd back Bradford there as well. So I don't think I've had much luck at the weekend. But was that a result that surprised you as well?
Yeah, again, it was. I think they were up there with. I think it was only 3 teams that were unbeaten, and then two shock results. The Forest Green game, and then Leyton Orient. They've had an okay start, but they lost to Harrogate in the week, and I think everyone was expecting Bradford to win. I think I had them on my accumulator as well, and of course they lost. But very good win for Leyton Orient.
Yeah, so they don't really do much for our credibility, does it? I think people start thinking we're talking a lot of shite soon, the way that, say, if we're back in Forest Green and Bradford, and our accumulators in the top three, and it shows we don't really know what we're on about, does it really? The side that have really caught me by surprise so far, currently sitting in fourth place, are Swindon Town. So they got a really good win at the weekend at home to Mansfield. The result I really see coming in the side Mansfield has made, and I keep expecting this little mini Swindon bubble to burst out of nowhere, but they've really started the season well. I think we both predicted them to be down there, didn't we? Can't really fault them, can you? 10 points in 5 games.
Yeah, pretty surprised. We'll see if they can keep it up, but yeah, good start. Ben Garner, of course, he's doing well there. Didn't have no luck at Rovers, or weren't really good enough, but yeah, they've had fair play. One of the surprise packages, really.
Yeah, and in terms of surprise packages as well, a side that have really started well, Hartlepool. So we look at their opening 4 games, they've won 3 of their opening 4 games. Lost in the EFL Trophy, I don't think they'll really care about that in a local derby against Carlisle. And losing to nearish neighbours Barrow, it's one of the closer games that Hartlepool will have this season, but they're currently outperforming after their promoted companions in Sutton United, who are currently rock bottom. But Hartlepool, do you think they can sustain this, or do you think it's just a bit of a really just a good start and nothing more than that?
Yeah, I think me personally, I think nothing more than that really. But you never know. Once you get on a good run and form, it just breeds confidence. And I think we've got them next week away from home, and that's going to be a tough game up there as well. So yeah, fair play to them.
Yeah, so it's not one of your short trips, is it, up to Hartlepool? Probably one of your longer ones, to be fair. But when you look at the start Hartlepool have had in terms of the fixtures they've had, so I don't think it's the most difficult run of fixtures they could have expected. So they've had Crawley at home so far, Barrow away, and that's where they lost. Then Carlisle, Walsall at home. So they're not the hardest of games, and especially Carlisle have not started the greatest. Walsall haven't been that great, and Crawley have been knocking on the door last few years. So there's definitely more difficult tests to come for the newly promoted side. So Bristol Rovers being one of them soon, despite their start, but we'll come on to that shortly. I'm sure we will. A side that have really, a side that had a bit of a shock result the weekend from a lot of people's perspective was Stevenage. So they started the season quite well. Lost to Walsall 1-0. I'm sure it's still called the Best Scott. If anyone watching who's a Walsall fan, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, have you been impressed with Stevenage so far? Because they're another side that they had that saving moment through Macclesfield being expelled from the Football League, and they kept their place result and seem to have thrived on it ever since.
Yeah, I mean, they beat us as well. I mean, to be fair, they didn't really have to do much against us, but no, they had a decent start. Lost against Walsall. That was their first win as well, but I think they'll do all right. Sort of mid-table-ish Stevenage, but yeah, I think they'll get back to winning ways sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and Stevenage have definitely turned the corner since appointing Alex Revel in 2021. So they finished last season really strongly. They've brought that into this season, so they do look like they could be genuine playoff contenders this season. We'll take a look at them, more towards the bottom end of the table. So we'll come to Bristol Rovers, seeing if you're just outside at bottom 2 at the minute. So again, what's going to say? I know we kind of touched on it quite a bit last week. But yeah, you got your 1-1 draw with Barrow. So what have you made of the last few games anyway?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the game before that we lost 4-1, so to Exeter. So at least it wasn't that bad. But again, it was frustrating because we started really well. We had a lot of chances, couldn't finish. Been the story of our season, really. Haven't scored over 1 goal in the league, in a league game as of yet. But yeah, looked really good. Missed chances though. We did, and they got a man sent off as well. They got a man sent off within like the first half. I think it was on the half-hour mark, and then we took the lead just before half-time. And then on the 5th minute of added time, Ollie Banks equalised for them. And then second half, they come out with a better team. We always seem to do very bad against teams with 10 men. I don't know what it is. It's always been a Rovers thing, but yeah, we should really be able to create more. But fair play to Barrow. They defended well. They kept stopping the game, making fouls, and it was a better point for them. But hopefully we can kick on. But yeah, it wasn't a good result really.
Yeah, I think in the grand scheme of things, I think obviously Bristol's want to be kicking on, don't they? Especially with having the tag of one of the promotion favourites before a ball was kicked. Is there any discontent amongst like the Bristol Rovers faithful towards Barton's or any calls for his head as of yet?
Yeah, it's sort of like I'd probably say sort of half and half. But yes, it's because like you said, we're like one of the the bigger teams that if you think like that, but you've got to earn the right to win games as well. And I don't know, because it's been there's obviously been a lot of new players. I think that's affected it, but still with the players we've got like Finley, Coots, Nicholson, Pittman, we should be able to be scoring one more than one goal in a game. But we'll see what happens this weekend against Crawley. That's a must-win. If we don't beat them, then I give up.
Yeah, I was going to say, but as soon as you mentioned Crawley, that's probably the most winnable fixture you've had so far. It's Crawley at home, isn't it? So that's the game that Joey Barton's really going to need to focus on there and get the 3 points. Because if they don't get it there, you start to wonder exactly where them 3 points are going to come from. But you've had a strong end to the transfer window, so you brought in 3 on deadline day. So you brought in Anthony Evans, Leon Clark, and Junior Brown. And has the deal gone through for Glenn Whelans? Have you? Because that's been rumoured quite a bit as well. So yeah, what have you made of the deadline day deals and the Whelans situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of well, put it this way. I think overall we made. Let me see. I keep forgetting. We've made 16 signings in, and 22 players have left, which is crazy. But the 3 that come in, sort of, most of Evans will be fighting for like the cam spot, but I think Clark he could start some games. But considering his age, I think he'd be more of like maybe an impact sub, or if we need a goal. But I would say the first part of the window where we signed the likes of Finley, Collins, Coots, Saunders, it was definitely better in the first part. I think the second part wasn't as good, but I still think we need a bit of time to gel. But I'm hoping after our checker trade win over Cheltenham in midweek where we won 2-0, I'm hoping we can kick on now.
Yeah, I think a lot of clubs. I've always been quite critical of the Papa John's Trophy, but given Rochdale's result in that the other night, if we battered Liverpool 4-0 in that, I think that could be a huge catalyst for a lot of people's seasons. I think if you do put out pretty much your strongest 11, you can get a decent win in that. I think that could probably spur you on a little bit in the league. So I think Bristol Rovers and from a Dale perspective as well, I think it's probably a good thing to use the Papa John's Trophy. I say it's a name change every year, doesn't it? And really hit the ground running with that and hopefully carry that onto the league form. So guys popped up in the live chat as a question I was going to ask you, Charlie, to be fair, but I think guys beat me to the punch on that one. With you mentioning the 16 in and 22 out, what do you make of the window for Rovers overall?
Well, I think most of the players that have left, they weren't really good enough anyway. There were quite a few as well. We just cancelled the contract on, like Baldwin, Ema, Tatunda, Daly, Josh Barrett left as well yesterday. But yeah, most of them were like deadwood anyway, really. But if I was to give it an overall, like the players in, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. I I think we still needed a centre back because Barton come out the other day and said that he wants to play 3 at the back with wing backs like all season, and we've only got 4 centre backs. So if a few get injured, then we're in trouble. But hopefully injuries are fine now, and we can get everyone. It was just good though to see, Saunders got his second goal the other night, second goal of the season against Cheltenham, and so did Nicholson. So and they're big players. I think they'll be big for us. So hopefully we'll be okay.
And so, guys, just kind of added to that question. The Bristol Rovers financially okay at the moment, or was that the motivation behind cancelling some contracts?
Yeah, financially we've been good. Our owners put a lot of money in from last season. Obviously, fans, we lost a lot, or like every club. But yeah, the owner's been good. Barton was saying that apparently our budget last season. Well, Barton went here at the start, but the budget last season was 1.7 million for the squad, and this year it's been, because we've obviously got relegated, it's been cut 500,000, so we 1.2 million. But the cancelling contracts, they would just get them to get them off the books, because even Josh Barrett, we got him in last January, maybe the January before that, and he's just been injured, and he's on like a lot of wages as a player. Like most Rovers players are probably on like $3,000 a week. It's quite a lot for sort of league, and for them to be in League Two and not really be good enough, it's just better just to cancel the deal. So, but yeah, financially we're okay.
Yeah, I think when you were saying about like taking the hit in League Two, I think it's better to pay him a little bit to get him out the door rather than paying up the full contract and just have him out of the place and use that money to better use elsewhere. And that's definitely something that they have done over the summer anyway. Going to have a look at Sutton United now. So they're currently rock bottom with the Football League, and they had their first home game in their Football League history the other day at home to Oldham Athletic, and it was a game that I think a lot of Oldham fans are pinning their hopes on. They managed to get the win, and it's a huge win for Oldham. We'll concentrate on Sutton first. Again, first game for their fans after having to relay the pitch. So were you expecting Sutton to come away with the win here due to the occasion, or do you think it was one of those where it's probably a little bit of a step too far from them and the pressure was on them from the off?
Yeah, to be fair, I did. I thought Sutton would have won. They've looked okay, but again, like they're just not really scoring a lot, which is a big problem. And like you've seen it, they basically capitulated as well. Like fair play to Oldham, they took a lot of fans down as well. And I seen the scenes that it was mad scenes because they obviously were 1-0 down, weren't they, Oldham? And then they equalised, and then they literally won like the last kick of the game, I think, or near the end. And yeah, very good win for Oldham. But yeah, for Sutton, I sort of predicted them, and I think I predicted them to finish bottom anyway. So I'm not really surprised at where they are.
Yeah, so they have struggled so far. And just to look at that game, also Oldham got their equaliser in the 88th minute, and then Luamba got the winner in the 96th minute. So obviously, I think most teams have created absolute scenes there, wouldn't they, if they'd have been in that situation to turn it around like that. But do you think the fact that they've had to play a lot of their games away from home so far, do you think that's had a bit of an impact, or do you think that's just looking for an excuse for them, really?
I mean, yeah, it could be. Could be, because like you said, they've only just played their first home game, haven't they, after the pitch? It could be. I think they, we'll see what happens. But like I said, I think no matter if it's home or away, with the teams that are in this league, like no offense to Sutton, like Sutton are quite small. They've done obviously amazingly well to win the league, the conference, to get out of it. But it's always going to be tough when it's the first time in the Football League as well.
Yeah, I think that there's teams that have come up. Obviously, Barrow and Harrogate did well to survive last season, but it was a bit of an anomaly last season, weren't it? Obviously, not had to contend with the big crowds at some of the bigger grounds. Obviously, last year, like having Harrogate travel to Bradford, maybe obviously it's a derby as it is because of the geography of that one. But yeah, it was a bit of a different season last year for the newly promoted sides, and I think Sutton will struggle a lot this year. we'll have a look at Oldham now in a bit more detail. So they got that first win of the season. So they've made it 3 wins in the bounce in all competitions because they got the EFL Cup win against Accrington, beat Sutton, and then they got a really impressive win against Salford in the EFL Trophy the other night as well. So they think Oldham are starting to finally turn the tide a little bit now, given because it's not only 3 wins but 3 really good wins as well against sides much stronger than them in Accrington and Salford.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, good to see them, for the fans' sake anyway, because they've had so many problems. It's good to see them get 3 wins in a row. Because I didn't see all the check or the Papa John's Trophy results the other night, but yeah, good win against Salford as well, and yeah, 3 wins on the bounce. Hopefully now they can sort of kick on and manage to still stay, in the Football League, especially with all the stuff that's going on there.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at the starting lineups now. So Salford were nowhere near full strength the other night, but to be fair, I wouldn't say it was Oldham's first 11 either. But either way, a win's a win, and you've got to take the wins when you can, don't you? So, I think Oldham will be looking ahead now rather than backwards. And so they've got a derby against Rochdale coming up soon, so I'm sure fans of both clubs will be looking forward to that one soon for the flat cap derby, as some people affectionately refer to it as. Just before we move on, because there's a couple of the teams I want to touch on before we move into the transfer window in questions. John, while we're on the topic of Oldham, see Oldham signed 2 Scunthorpe centre-halves. Is that a bad idea? It was so poor as we got a win last time out. I'm a bit surprised given how poor Scunthorpe are, but what did you think of that one, Charlie, and get going for 2 Scunthorpe defenders?
Yeah, I was pretty... That's why at the start of the season, I know there was problems going on, but even then I still predicted them because all the players, they signed a few other players that I think got relegated as well. I think one from Northampton, they signed the Sheehan. And then I think the 2 centre-backs were, if I'm not wrong, McGeehee and Jordan Clark, I think, from Scunny. So, yeah, it is a pretty bad idea considering Scunny were lucky to stay up last season. So, yeah, but hopefully Oldham, and they'll be all right.
Yeah, so when you mentioned McGee, then I was a big fan of him when he had at Rochdale, but ever since he left, his career just seems to have absolutely plateaued, and it's just become ultimately down the shitter, really. So I don't think he's really got back from them levels. And just one more question regarding Oldham before we move on. How Hope's going to be any use for us? He's always one of them players I think he's one of those flats to deceive. He always had a bit of promise early doors when he was knocking around at Swindon, Bury, and then Carlisle, but he's never really been one for being a goal-scoring machine. And I think he's only cracked double figures once so far in the Football League. But are you a fan of Callum Hope, Charlie? I think it's a bit of a poor signing.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it looks... So sometimes he's probably just one of those inconsistent Football League strikers, He, like you said, he done well at Carlisle, didn't he? But then, yeah, you look at him and you look at his record, it's not good, is it really? So, yeah, and that's bad as well, that what John just put as well, Bahambula.
That's why it's big miss for a minute.
Yeah.
Just one more team I just want to kind of touch on. Say, over the next few weeks, I'm going to make a concept. I want to cover all teams rather than focus on teams at the top of the table every week. But there is one side I do want to focus on. So they got the first win at the weekend, and that was Salford. Absolutely battering Newport 3-0. It's a very action-packed 30 minutes. All 3 goals coming in the opening half an hour to give Salford their opening win of the season. Are you surprised it's taken this long for them to get out first win? Because, again, bookmakers, overwhelming bookmaker favourites to lift the League 2 title, weren't they? Yeah,
I mean, it's been a while, hasn't it? I'm pretty surprised at that. Even we managed to get a win before them. But yeah, I think they should kick on now. You would have thought, but to be fair, I thought they were going to win anyway because after Newport's battering they got against Southampton in midweek for the cup game, then yeah, I thought they were going to win anyway. But you've got to do it on the pitch, and they did that, and they kept a clean sheet as well, which would be good for them also.
Yeah, and it looks like the signs get there. Strongest 11 out now on a weekly basis now, Salford. So when you look at their strongest 11, it is a very formidable team. They will take some beating, but I still personally have reservations over Gary Bowyer. I still think he'll be one of the first, he'll definitely the first three managerial casualties, I think, this season. I guess before we move on, because we're on that fixture, Newport. So they've had a few near misses over the last few seasons. I think the last 3 or 4 seasons, they've been there or thereabouts, and it's been a poor start by their standards so far. Do you think Newport have probably missed their chance now, and they could be mid-table mediocrity, because they definitely have come close on too many occasions now, and I think it's one of those now where they're going to start to fall away after so many missed chances?
Yeah, I think so, especially after the players they've lost in the summer. Abraham, Sheehan, Tom King and Shepherd, who actually, funny enough, went to Salford, who they played. I think it'd be a few more seasons, because, like you said, they missed out a few times and obviously now they've lost them. I think it will be hard. Like when you sign the likes of Ed Upson, who was at Rovers for the last few years as Sheehan's replacement, it's not going to be that amazing. So yeah, a bit of a rebuild job and then start again sort of thing.
Yeah, so they've done well to obviously be in the situation over the last couple of years, and they did well to hang on to a really strong squad for as long as they did. I think they definitely gave themselves plenty of opportunities. So I think a lot of them players did deserve their moves, and I think Newport will come again, but I think it might be a while to see them back at the top, punching for the top 3 of the table. So I just want to quickly move on to the transfer window, really. So mainly looking at deadline day. So a lot of clubs were busy on deadline day. So Barrow got a couple of loanees in from Leeds. Bradford made a really good signing, bringing in Theo Robertson from Port Vale. We've already touched on Bristol Rovers signings. Colchester only made one signing, bringing in Armando Dobra from Ipswich. QPR, only one signing, signing Amit Banzel McNulty from QPR. Exeter, again, just the one signing. Forest Green, no more new signings, they're sticking with what they've got in terms of that strong start. Harrogate making a strong signing, Jack Diamond from Sunderland. So they've caught a few videos of him previously. It was looking good signs. I think that Harrogate could be onto a winner there with that one. Hartlepool, Leyton Orient, both getting a couple of new faces. Mansfield, again, a couple of new faces. Nothing of much note. Oldham, no further signings. Northampton, only the one. Port Vale, Rochdale, nobody again. I think the signing of deadline day for me really is this one that Salford managed to pull off, getting Donald Lovin on a permanent deal from Shrewsbury. What did you make out, Charlie? Because would you say that's probably one of the best signings of deadline day?
I mean, that's another one that used to be at Man United, wasn't it? He come through their academy. That's what happened. That happened to Gibson as well. He was at Salford, wasn't he, until they got rid of him. But I mean, to be fair, I've seen a lot of Shrewsbury fans don't rate him. He could do well in League Two. But like you said, there isn't really many. I think we made the most signings on deadline day by the looks of it, and we only signed 3, and they all come at like 10 o'clock, which is. But I mean, Donald Lowe could be a good one. I think League Two, and with the squad they've got already as well, Salford. Apart from that, I don't know, because I haven't seen all the. I've seen quite a few, but I haven't seen all of them. I think a lot of clubs. I think Exeter, because Exeter, even though they battered us a couple of weeks ago, I think there's a lot of teams in the league which don't have very big squads. They've only got, which maybe is a good thing, so they know what team's playing every week and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's pretty interesting to hear that there's not really many signings on deadline day, to be honest.
Yeah, I've continued flicking through just to make sure there's only Tranmere that have done anything else of note, really. after I got to Salford. I was bringing in Nicky Maynard on a permanent deal. He's decent for this level. And that's about it. In Celtic, fullback Leo Connor again for Tranmere, but there was nothing really of note. So I was expecting Rochdale to bring in maybe one or two more players. I was expecting a bit more of a battle in midfield. I've not banged on about it the last couple of weeks, and I think that's probably my only criticism of our transfer window is not bringing in that battler in the middle of midfield. We've got a lot of flair in the midfield, especially like the last couple of signs we made. But yeah, I was a bit disappointed we didn't bring anybody in on deadline day to fill obviously what I thought we need anyway. But I'll trust Stockdale's judgment on that one. But overall, do you think, are you happy with the business that has gone in League Two? Do you think there's any players that have come in that are really stand out at this level?
I think Maynard could be a good one. All depends on how much service he can get because he is a good finisher. Even though I don't know if he used to play for Bristol City, right? And it was quite funny. It's a while back. He left there now, and he went to Cardiff.
Yeah,
and he said the only reason why he left Bristol City is that he doesn't want his I think it was his daughter or son to have a Bristolian accent, and like all the City fans and that turn on him. But as a player, and I think he could be good, but I still think they might struggle for goals though, because he's getting on a bit now, and he's not he's not been like a consistent striker like Ian Henderson.
Yeah,
Maynard's at different spells, but there's one thing also I was going to say about Rovers. Obviously, you said about Whelan.
Yeah.
Apparently, he should be. I mean, that's great. Obviously, the free agents is still open. So you might see a few clubs sign a few different players at different times. And because Barton said he wants another 2 signings, and we've already signed 16 players, which is crazy. But I think there's a few. I think Dobra could be an all right one for Colchester. I've heard good things about him. Another one from Ipswich. Funny enough, they've got about half of the Ipswich squad from last season. But yeah.
Do you think Whelan's going to make much of a difference in middle midfield? Because I think when the thing I've been ranting about in Rochdale and that midfield, I think Whelan would have probably been a perfect person to have in that role. So do you think Whelan's going to make a big difference to Rovers on the pitch?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing with him, again, is his age. He's 37. He's 37. I don't think he'll be... He'll probably play half of the season, especially with, I think he's 38 in December. I mean, to be honest, I mean he has to be getting on because I remember back, watching him in the Premier League in 2008 or 9 or whenever it was. But yeah, I don't think he'll be first choice. He'll just be there for experience, even though we've already got the likes of Pittman, Coots, Finley, and stuff like that. But that's what Barton does. He likes to bring players that he's had before, which he's done.
No, definitely. I personally think he'll do well. I wouldn't mind having him at Rochdale just for that hole that I felt we needed filling. But I think he'll do all right with Whelan in the side. Just one comment that's kind of caught. So I know there's been a few comments on that so far, but I'll come to them in the questions because they're more suited for that section. But just on the topic of Nicky Maynard, was he part of the Bury team that got promoted to League One before they went bust? Yeah, I believe he was. Yeah, I'm sure he was part of that squad. I'm sure he got into, I'm sure he broke the 20 goal. I don't know if it was in all competitions, but I'm sure he broke 20 goals that season as well. When they had, I think it was him and Jermaine Beckford up front when Bury would just sign him. Players far too good for League Two in League One when he got there, and so it all went a bit awry very quick. Yeah, but Maynard was part of that Bury squad when they got promoted. But yeah, that's the transfer window overall, especially deadline day. There's a couple of questions about the transfer window overall that are coming, so I don't want to spoil that for you by answering the questions early. So we'll move on to the questions part of the show now. Again, thank you everyone that's got them in on Twitter early and those that have popped up in the live chat as we've gone. Plenty to cover as always, so we'll make sure we get all these answered for you. So I'll bob over to the ones we've had in on Twitter. So First question is in from John Fleming. So first part of it is regarding Bristol Rovers and Oldham. So we'll come to you first on this one, Charlie. Do you think there's any chance Bristol Rovers and Oldham can climb out of the bottom three? Two clubs that should be in League One but are struggling. If it worked for Sutton, they'd be bottom. So you're expecting Bristol Rovers to climb away, Charlie, and same for Oldham?
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping now. I think we still got to gel a bit, but hopefully we can beat Crawley and it can kick us on. I'm hoping, but yeah, I think I still have confidence. I know I was like slating Barton about excuses, but I think with the quality that we've got on the team, as long as we get gelling and we don't get any more injuries, I think we'll still be up there come end of the season, maybe top 7. Maybe not top 3 like I predicted us to win the league, but maybe top 7, hopefully.
Yeah, and I said, in terms of Bristol Rovers, I think you'll definitely be fine. Like, it's still early days, isn't it? Like, it can change very, very quickly. Like, you're 3 points off 7th place. Anyway, like I said, only 5 games gone. So, I say a lot of people do start to talk like they're relegated with 5 games gone. It's definitely not the case. So, yeah, they'll be fine. For me, they'll still get top 7. It's just a slow start. And it's similar to Ipswich in League One. Such a high turnover of players. It does take time to gel. Obviously, I think Rochdale ended up signing about 11, 12 players in the end, I think it were. It does take time. The teams that tend to do well early doors are the ones who haven't done as much recruitment over the summer because they've already got a settled squad. But the teams that tend to hit form later on in the season are the ones who've made all them signings and they finally gel. It all clicks into place. And I expect that to be the same again this season. I expect Bristol Rovers and Rochdale to be up there for the top 7 anyway. Oldham, on the other hand, I think that's a slightly different story. So I think Oldham will definitely be in the mix for the majority of the season. I don't see them climbing any higher than 19th, 20th place. Would you agree with that, Charlie, or are you a bit more optimistic about Oldham's chances now?
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll be all right. I think they'll survive. I still think they've got enough quality, and yeah, I don't think they're that. Even though they were awful against us, I think they'll be okay. Especially now getting a few wins under their belt, no matter what competition it is, it'll breathe confidence and hopefully, they can stay as a club and nothing goes bad with really bad. But yeah, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, I think the ownership things, the sooner you can get sorted, the better, because it's obviously going to be a cause for concern. But we'll see how things go. But they got a decent game at the weekend against Barrow, and then Leyton Orient away and Hartlepool at home. So it's not the toughest run of fixtures. Leyton Orient will be a tough place to go, but the next 2 home games are definitely winnable. And obviously can keep that run going. It'll definitely breed confidence throughout the club. But thanks, John, for sending that in. Next question from Steve Timms. I see Forest Green are at the top and have recruited well. Do you think they'll keep up the season or they fall away? I think they were close to playoffs last season. I'll come to you on that one first, Charlie. What do you think on Forest Green?
Yeah, I think they should definitely be in the playoffs. Whether they go up automatically is another thing. They need to try and stop that, losing in the playoffs. And it depends on injuries again, because I think they would have went up automatically last year if it weren't for, I think Jamil Matt got injured with 12 games to go.
Yeah.
And then he only just got back, I think, in the second leg in the playoffs. So, yeah, I think they'll be all right, depending on injuries and stuff like that. And they should finish in the top 7.
Yeah, they'll definitely fine. I still expect them to be punching for the top 3. They've been a really good side since he came in CFL. I think this is their 5th season. But the 4 completed seasons they've had so far, I think they've had 2 playoff campaigns, 1 narrow miss because of points per game because of COVID, and then the first season of the Football League, I think they were low mid-table, so they've definitely progressed as a club, and they'll definitely be in the mix come the end of the season. Last question on Twitter before we move on to the live chat from Dan Green. Does Dave think Stockdale is the right man for Dale? And would the season be a failure if Rochdale aren't fighting for promotion? When Stockdale first got appointed, I knew naff all about him. And the last time I made an appointment like that is when we hired Steve Eyre when Keith Hill first went. And I think, obviously, as soon as you mention the name Steve Eyre, Rochdale fans do shudder a little bit. But I think Stockdale's definitely won me over. We're playing some great football so far, really attacking, really, really nice to watch. Definitely looking a lot better at the back. And he's definitely saying the right things in his interviews, and he does seem like he's a no-nonsense type of manager and won't take any crap in the dressing room. So, yeah, definitely won me over, and I definitely think he's the right man for Dale to move us forward. In terms of that second part of your question, would the season be a failure if Rochdale aren't find promotion? I think in the prediction video, I think I jokingly said we'd get top 3. I don't think we'll be top 3, but I think if we got the playoffs, I think that'd be an incredible season. Given everything that went over the summer, losing Humphreys, Lund, Rathbone, the hostile takeover news has only just stopped. So if we got top 7 this year, I think Stockdale would be, for me, be one of the managers of the season. If we were to pull that off, but yeah, if I was to be taking a top 10 finish now, I'd happily snap your hand off for that and go again next season with what we've got. Move over to the live chat next. I know we've had quite a few come in as we've been going along. First one from Chris that we haven't covered. We're also been round look for a few seasons. Them Swindon are 2 teams that consistently poor. How do they avoid relegation so often? Well, Swindon, it's their first season back in League 2 after their 1 season stint in League 1. So I think it might be a bit unfair to put them in the same bracket as Walsall. But yeah, just to kind of focus on the Walsall part of the question a little bit more. Charlie, what have you made of Walsall the last week? Obviously, we've not followed League 2 intently as we are doing this season, but what are you making of Walsall? I think they're a side that should be looking over their shoulder this year.
I mean, at the start, again, I predict them to do quite well, but like they've struggled. I mean, even last season they had a pretty poor one. I think they finished like 14th, 15th. So they've had a few pretty average seasons, but I don't think they have to worry. I think they've got enough quality in their squad once they get going. I think they'll be fine. But it's sort of weird. Like teams like Walsall, I remember they've done really well. You know, when they had what's the Villa manager?
Dean Smith.
Yeah, Dean Smith was there 1 year about 5-6 years ago, maybe even a bit longer than that. And they had a quality team, but it happens, doesn't it? Like teams like Walsall, because they're in that area, they get a lot of good, academy players from the Midland teams, and they usually find a way, and then they have a few inconsistent seasons and they go again. But I think they'll be fine. They could finish top 10 maybe, but who knows? We'll have to see.
Yeah, I think Walsall will be fine. They are usually a very strong home side. I think, again, I think Sailor and Shaw, I've only ever been when it's been known as the Best Scot, so that has changed name since I do apologise, but I've always known it as the Best Scot. It's a really tough place to go. I don't know if you've been, Charlie, to Walsall. It's quite a very packed-in stadium, very close to the pitch, and especially if they're doing well, the fact that the crowd's definitely on top of you, isn't it? So, yeah, I think Walsall will be fine this year. Again, Swindon, they've started really well, so I think they'll be fine as well. So yeah, I don't think they'll be quite as poor as they have been in recent seasons, so I expect them to be okay this year. Just bear me 1 second. I just want to make sure we're asking the same questions twice. Next question from Ben. Who are you saying had the worst transfer window in League 2 and who has had the best? So I saw this one come in earlier on and I've been proper stewing over it to think who to go for, Ben. So I'll come to you first, Charlie. Who do you think on that one?
Oh, that's tough. I don't know. I would say I think the best I'd probably say Bradford or Salford. And the worst, I would. Well, first I'd probably say Sutton, but you can't really say that because they're not going to have a lot of money anyway. So,
yeah.
I'd say Colchester because they signed they've lost quite a few players, and they brought in a lot of experience, but not that much quality, to be honest, I think.
Yeah, in terms of the best, I definitely agree on the Salford front. Like, obviously, they've not been the most active. They've still brought in quite a few players, but I think it's the quality of the players they've brought in. So I've already mentioned Donald Love. He's only 26 years of age, and I think he'll be a really good, solid defensive option for them. Obviously, Josh Morris, Matty Lund got bags of goals at League One level, so I imagine they'll do the same this year. Conor McElhenney from Oldham, he's started really well for him as well, and he'll be a good signing for them. And I've already talked about Matty Willett quite a few times this season. I'm gonna give a mention to Rochdale's transfer window in the end, because I slated them early doors in the summer. I think mainly because of the takeover and manager situation. I don't think we started doing any of our business really until very late in July and that first week of August leading up to the start of the season. But Robbie Stockdale's done a great job bringing in the players. He has some really good quality in there as well. Really impressed with Danny Cashman so far. We've brought him on loan from Coventry after he signed from Brighton. We've brought him on loan straight away. Liam Kelly, he made his debut the other night against Liverpool, and he looks like he's going to be a cracking signing for us as well. So yeah, I'm really optimistic about the future for Rochdale with the signs we've made, but I think I'm only giving them a mention because the quality we brought in at such late notice. But yeah, Salford are the main ones to me. In terms of the worst, I'm going to go with Crawley Town. So I think they've been really struggling the last couple of years to bring anyone a note, and after their brief stint in League One, they've just slowly declined. And I wouldn't be shocked to see them get relegated this year. They've brought nobody in that's worth mentioning of note, and I think they'll really struggle this year. But yeah, thanks again for that question, Ben. There's one that definitely stumped us both, so you've done well there getting that one in. Let's look for the next ones. That could be pretty much most of them. Our next one, Steve Timms. Some big teams in League Two this year, but which ones would you guys class as sleeping giants? And this one could be a slightly easier one, Charlie, just given that there's a few ex-Premier League clubs in the division, but who are your sleeping giants in the division?
Probably Bradford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say Bradford's the easy one to go to, and Swindon are another one. Obviously, we're going back to the very, very early days of the Premier League when Swindon were in there. I think it was the first season was their only season in it. And similarly, Oldham, they've had the spell in the Premier League, and both got huge stadiums for the towns of their size. And I'm not saying the sleeping giants, but they definitely have had better days, so you could probably put them into that category. I think Tranmere are worth a mention as well. Obviously, they've got Liverpool and Everton like just up the road, but Tranmere, when they're doing well, do pack out Prenton Park quite well. So yeah, I think they're my main four there really. Next question from Dan Green. I think this could be the last one. Yeah, I think it is. So which team are you most looking forward to seeing play in the flesh when they come to visit your respective grounds?
I'd probably say Salford or Bradford. Be interesting because Bradford are looking and Forest Green actually, because they play some pretty good stuff as well. Maybe even Rochdale, because I think it's a lot of new players as well you've signed, but I think a lot of them are quite underrated as well. So yeah, I think I'd probably say them.
Yeah, I think when I say this, some people might think it's slightly disrespectful, but I'm not really looking forward to seeing anyone in particular because I've seen Rochdale play pretty much against every side in the division. Obviously, there's a few that we haven't played before. Harrogate being one, but I've seen them against that now. Sadly, I missed the Forest Green game because I was on holiday. I was quite looking forward to seeing us play them, but there's always the away fixture, so I'll try and get to that one because I want to see at least every team once. And obviously then Sutton and Barrow, I think the other two teams I've not seen us play against. So yeah, they're probably the only ones Maybe Salford just because there's a few ex-Rochdale lads in that Henderson, London, Easton. So that makes things a little bit more interesting. I just think for the laugh, I might have to boo Ian Henderson when he comes back to Rochdale, regardless of what he did. But yeah, I've seen him a few times in a Salford shirt and it still stings. So yeah, they're my few anyway. But that is all the questions for this week. So thank you very much, everyone, for getting those again. The support is always overwhelming and really good to see. The Lower League fans getting together around the chats that we do. Yeah, thanks again, Charlie, for coming on again this week. So we'll be back again next week. It'll be next Wednesday or Thursday as usual, most likely Thursday. But obviously keep your eye on our social media channels for that. In the meantime, as always, the particulars that we end the show with, make sure you check out the website, www.otvfootball.net. For all the new content we're getting out there. I will have a Rochdale article out by the end of the week, so make sure you check that out. If you care about what I've got to say about Rochdale, it's good. I think it's going to be a decent read, but I'll let you guys be the judge. Make sure you follow us on Twitter over the bar FB for all the new content, video related articles, and all the stuff we like to share with you guys. And also while you're on the YouTube channel, make sure you drop us a subscribe and click the bell icon so you know when we're going live and all the other content such as the Bundesliga show and the League One show. But yeah, that's everything for this week. Thank you all for watching and thank you again, Charlie, for being a great guest, and we'll see you all next week.